Coast to Coast, we are back again. We got another head coach that we're excited to share with and connect with today. We're going way East Coast. We're going to Binghamton, and we have Coach LEVELL Sanders in the building. We're so excited about that. They're coming off a great week of hoops, and we're going to talk about his program and his journey and all the things going on the East Coast. So we're going to bring in Coach to the studio. Coach, what up?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Not much. Thanks for joining us, man. We're excited to have you. So coming off a little bit of a hot week, you got a player of the week. Talk a little bit about that before we jump into the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, that it was exciting. We actually were huddling up and we were finishing up practice, and I was just talking to the guys, and one of the coaches came over and just showed me a graphic of Jake winning the Player of the Week award. And I started by saying, congratulations to Jake, but that's a team award, because again, Jake doesn't get those accolades. He doesn't get that award if we don't win 2 games, right? And so that's something that we all can be proud about. Jake doesn't score by himself. He doesn't assist by himself. He doesn't do anything alone. And so, I try to not focus on individual success. But when something like that happens, I think we got to give him his props. But also, as I said, we got to take it as a team award, because again, we had a successful week, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah, no doubt. Talk about the week, Coach. Obviously, getting 2 wins, not easy to do in any conference. So talk about just being able to get back-to-back wins, and just kind of talk about a little bit of the conference play. You guys have had some great moments. You've had some splits. You guys are playing some really good basketball. Talk a little bit about this week.
Yeah, so we went to Stony Brook, and we had lost the first game with them, and I think one of the things Coach Norris really started to talk to the guys about, and I like it, is not getting swept. And so we had that mentality. We were going down to Long Island to get a W, and we always just talk about we got to do it. Whatever we got to do, we got to go there to get a win. And so I thought we started off playing really good defense. One of the focuses was not to get behind. Stony Brook is such a good offensive team. They have a lot of good offensive talent, and it's hard to get 3, 4, 5 stops in a row. So if you get down big against them, which we did early on, at home, it puts so much pressure on your defense, and then also it puts pressure on you offensively, because now you got to try to come down and score every possession, which doesn't happen. And so, I thought we did a really good job of not getting down early. And we just made everything tough for them. To hold them to, I think they scored 61 was impressive. So I thought that was one of our best, defensive efforts, all season. And then, we come home and we, play against a really good main team right there. I don't know if they probably won 1 game in the league so far, but they're not as bad as their record indicates. They play hard. They play together. They're physical, and so they've been in every game this year. I mean, even our game, it was a we got up to about 17 one time, but they kept fighting, and they came back, and they made it tough on us. And then also, I thought it was something that we hadn't seen all season. They came and played basically 40 minutes of zone, so we had to navigate that. We had I want to say we had a slow first half, but we weren't executing the way we needed to execute offensively. Like defensively, we were fine. We were, I want to say they scored 23 points in the first half, which is what we like to give up. But offensively, the zone I kind of paused. Were attacking apps. They were kind of playing like a soft press back to zone, and we were kind of letting them play the soft press instead of just going by guys that's standing straight up. So it was a hard fought victory, and I'm happy we were able to come out, especially with that W, because again, a team played against us 40 minutes zone. We haven't seen that all season, so right. I'm happy we were able to adjust to that. And again, experience is the best teacher. Now, when yep. we see that again, we'll be ready for it. So it was a good week. And in conference, man, this is this conference is kind of it's a packed conference, right? You got Vermont up here that hasn't lost a game yet, and then you got everybody else that has 3-4 losses. Yep. And so when you lose a game, it kind of it can drop you 3 or 4 spots in the seedings.
Right.
And we haven't, we've just started talking about seeding, last 2 games, because I think it's something that we have to be conscious of. With Stony Brook not being able to play in postseason, playing the postseason, it's going to bump everybody up. And so you want to be able to have the highest seeding possible. I know for us, if you think about, where we started at, being picked 10th in the league, for us to be able to host, a playoff game, in our building would be a tremendous accomplishment. And so, we conscious of that, and, we not shying away from it.
Right.
I think, what we talk about is being able to play meaningful games, like right now in this time of year. We haven't, the past couple of years since I've been here, right now we're always, at the bottom of the table, and the games are not like, they don't really have much meaning, because you don't really have opportunity to move up and challenge anybody for a top spot. Well, right now we in a position where we can move up and be one of the top teams in the league. And so I don't think that's something that we should shy away from. We should embrace that and attack that with force. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, attacking it with force. And right now you guys are, I know it's a packed conference, but you guys are standing second place right now. You play the undefeated Vermont team twice still this season. The first one is on Wednesday. What does it mean to be able to play in those meaningful games, as you have been there as an assistant, when maybe, again, picked 10th, haven't necessarily always had something to play for? What is the energy like on campus? Do the guys feel more nervous, or is it more just that excitement for the opportunity to play those meaningful games?
Well, the energy on campus is ridiculous, man. Like you can't imagine what the energy is like on campus. I mean, just talking to people, and just random people, right? Not even people that have anything to do with athletics. I mean, I get so many emails. I got an email today from a guy in development. No, he has nothing to do with athletics, but he was just sending me an email and just letting me know how excited he was about our team, and how he loved how gritty we are, and how we always fighting. And and so the energy on campus, I mean, after the last game, I took the microphone and thanked the crowd just for coming out and supporting us. Again, we had 2,200 people in the building, and again, we can, it was only half of what the capacity is, but you felt the energy of the crowd. And I thought, from our first game we played against Hartford at home, we were down 19, and we were able to turn that around. The crowd has been ridiculous, and really giving us like a 6 man, and so I wanted to make sure I did that, and thank the fans. But as I said, we're not shying away from that. Guys are confident, which we should be, right? Because we prepared ourselves.
Yep.
We put the work in. I always say, when I was a player, my confidence came from my preparation. I knew that I was in the gym taking shots, and I had no fear of taking those last second shots or last second free throws, because I was prepared. And that's what I feel with our guys now. Like, we prepare these guys prepare themselves. They're in the gym getting extra shots up. And so there's no fear in sight, right? These guys are confident. Look at a guy like Jake, who's kind of like our leader, right? He's playing at a really high level, and you can see his confidence is really high. And I think so when you have a guy playing like that, the team kind of follows, right? And I think that's where we at. As coaches, we confident as hell. I don't think there's a group of coaches in this league that's more confident than we are. And that's, again, it's just because of our preparation. When you put the work in, you can be confident. So, we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to go play Vermont on Wednesday. I was doing a Zoom a little bit earlier, and I was talking about, when I was coaching overseas, there was a team in the Czech Republic called Nymburk, and they won the league. I don't know, the last 19 years in a row, right? They haven't lost in I think 19 years. And so when you played against them, I always had my best games against them. Some of the biggest individual games I had was against that team, because I was always pumped up and ready to play against them. And when I started coaching, they would go through the whole year and not lose a game. And then team that I coach, we end up beating them, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, just because just getting guys pumped up and ready to play. And again, it's not a fair thing. I always talk about respecting your opponent. I think when you respect your opponent, doesn't matter who you play, good things happen to you. Because if you don't respect your opponent and you underestimate them, then you know you end up losing those games, right? Um, and so we're a team that respect our opponents, but we don't fear anybody, and we're going to come out, and play our tails off, and play hard as I don't know what, and then whatever happens, happen.
No doubt. That's the best way to be, coach. You talked a little bit about overseas. Obviously, your first year as the head coach at Binghamton. How has your prior time before being an assistant, obviously there, and then also being overseas, how has that prepared you to sit in that seat now? Because it's a little bit different, the collegiate realm and the things that come with that. And then what do you attribute to your success in being able to have this success that they haven't seen there in quite some time? I know the players have something to do with it. I'm sure your staff, but there's something within your approach as well. Just share a little bit of that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually a player assistant overseas, and I think being a player assistant really helped me um, with my development in terms of coaching. Just because when you're playing, you're really focused on yourself. And um, once I became a player assistant, like when I was coming off the floor, like coach called a timeout, and when I was coming off the floor, he would grab me and put me to the side, like right, he wanted to have a conversation with his assistant coach. And I was I had to like give him information kind of like on the spot. And that made me again look at the game differently. I wasn't now just focusing on myself. It wasn't just if I missed that shot. I had to look at what was happening defensively, what was working, what's not working, what we were doing offensively that was working, not working. So it gave me opportunities to start analyzing the game from a different lens. And I think that helped me out a lot. And then I just think from a coaching standpoint, one thing I say, one of the biggest differences to me, college basketball and professional basketball, is professional players have an opinion, whereas college guys, they might just take everything you say for what it is, right? And you tell them you're going to play the ball screen coverage this way, and they play it that way without any kind of second guessing, or if they do it, they never say it to you. But when you're coaching professionals, because these guys have played at a high level, like I was coaching a guy, a Czech guy who actually was like the 16th pick in the draft by Philadelphia, and played many years in the NBA, had a long career playing in the EuroLeague. I was coaching, I was 40 years old at the time. I was coaching guys 36, 37 years old, so around my age. And these guys all have had experiences, right, and playing a certain way. And so it really made me have to understand and know what I was talking about. There's a big difference between knowing something and then being able to teach that. And I learned that early on. I think one of the things that I remember when I was going to like the end of my career, when I wasn't as athletic and fast, and I started to post up a lot. I was kind of a bigger point guard, so I started to post up a lot, and that gave me the ability to understand like the post game, right, and being a big guy. And so I'm able to work with bigs, I'm able to work with guards. But again, it was that being able to be in that, right, being able to post up, and learn the different, the footwork and how you can manipulate the defense, from the low post. And it's almost similar to being on the perimeter in terms of like footwork and everything. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just a different part of the floor. But also like, when you want to talk about defense and ball screen coverages and those kind of things, it's like, from the good thing I think about me is that I was, I played against ice ball screens. There's a lot of coaches now that, have never played against that, right? Because their playing careers ended a long time ago. And so, there's a lot of things that's happening now in the game and that I actually played against, because I played. I'm 46 right now. I played till I was 40 years old, right? And so a lot of things that's happening in the game, I was able to play against. And then, again, I know how to attack that because it happened to me. And so again, I think there's a big difference of knowing something and then being able to teach that. So I think I attribute a lot of that to, of course, the success that we're having now. I think also it's the approach. I remember when I was overseas, team that I was coaching for, the owner and or the general manager, they wanted me to be a little bit different than I was. And I always was trying to explain to them, like, it's hard to be somebody else, right? Like they wanted me to be a guy that yells and screams at the players, and that wasn't my style, right? And that's not my personality. I don't have to yell and scream, I think, to get my point across. I always try to explain to my guys that I'm gonna be honest, right? When guys come ask me, how come they're playing more and those kind of things, like, I'm gonna be honest. Now, if you want to know, I'm gonna be honest, but I don't have to, MF them and all those kind of things. And like Marlon, he's always joking about, man, like what gets you upset, what makes you mad, right? It's not a lot that I let bother me. And I think that kind of approach kind of eases our guys. Doesn't, they see that I'm not rattled, then I think our guys can be relaxed and go out there and play the way we play. And so, of course, having, great players, I don't care how much you think as a coach, if you don't have guys that can go out there and execute and put the ball in the basket and stop guys defensively, you're not going to be successful. You look at all of the great coaches, the ones that we call great, right? They've all had Hall of Fame kind of talent around them. And I think for you to be a successful coach, you need that. And then I think, especially for me, I was telling you a little bit earlier,
Right.
The 5 coaches that I have on my staff, man, are heaven sent, and we have a bond that, I hear a lot of stories. You hear a lot of stories about coaches, coaching staffs, and how this coach is talking behind that coach back, and man, we don't have any of that. And I can honestly feel that, right? I honestly know that, if Marlon or Brian or Pat, if they're going to be out, they're not going to be saying, hey, L is doing this and L is doing that, because we have a great relationship. We talk and communicate. And I think the other thing is that I give these guys a lot of ownership of, what we're doing. We all have job descriptions, and we have to do those job, whatever that job description is, whatever, again, there's so many things going on in the college basketball, in the game in general. Like, we got a coach that's responsible for personnel. We got a coach that's responsible for defense. I kind of control the offense. Coach Gill helped me a lot with that also. But we got guys that have roles and responsibility. And so, I remember when those, a couple year or two ago, when the pandemic was just starting, and we had a bunch of those Zoom calls. I can remember a ton of coaches saying how, they were in practice and really had no involvement, and kind of holding up the basket. That doesn't happen in our practice, because all of the coaches in practice really have a role and responsibility, and they do it to the best of their ability. So, I think all of those things, has helped, with our success. I mean, you can't. This is not a one-man show by any means,
Right.
and I don't ever want it to be. All of these guys have, and not just the coaches, like the players. Like I talk to the players all the time. I want to get feedback. I want to get information, because I just think that, in a relationship, there has to be, and I'm big on communication, right? Like in a relationship, there has to be communication, right? And this, as a leader, you just cannot always be dictating, right? You have to listen. Part of, I think, being a good leader is being able to listen, and then, whatever the situations are going on, you have to be able to adjust and adapt to that, right? So, everybody that's involved with our program has a say. And at the end of the day, I sit down with the coaches, and we come up with what we think is the best plan of attack.
Right. Yeah, you had a moment this year where you had to miss a game, and one of your assistant coaches stepped in. He spoke very well at the press conference about some of those same sentiments about you as well. Talk a little bit about this team specifically. Like, obviously, you guys are playing at a great level in second place, playing with the first place team Wednesday. And then what about this culture that has now been established are you probably most proud of that attributes to your success with this team?
Yeah, I mean, the team, we talk about having balance, because you're saying team, and I think we truly are a team. again, in every team, there are roles, right? Everybody has a role, and all of those roles are different. But I think that, and I talk to these guys about we doing it together, right? And I truly believe we have to do it together. Um, and I remember, talking to Danny Hurley, and this is when I first became an assistant coach over here, not even as a head coach, but one of the things he told me about, his time at Wagner, he said, listen, we went from, I don't remember the numbers, but winning this many games to this many games in 2 years because we cared more and we played harder than in every team that we played against. And so, one of the first things that I did with the staff was we sat down with our strength and conditioning coach, and we told him, listen, whatever you're going to do, we want to make it hard as hell. We want to make it hard because, you know, nothing that is worth something comes easy, right? It's hard work. And so, but also during that hard process, you get a chance to see like who's going to fold, who's going to break, who's going to stick with it. And so, in the spring, it's a spring workouts. We were getting up at 6 a.m. every day. We were getting in the weight room. We were getting, we have a little hill outside my little window right here, and we were pushing sleds up and down that hill. One day the president actually came out, and it was still cold up here. It was springtime, but it was still cold up here, and he was all bundled up, and nobody recognized. I didn't even recognize him. And he heard all of the noise. Again, I'm big on communication, so we got to be loud. And he heard all of the noise out here, and he was just on he was doing like a Sunday run or something like that. And he came over and he saw us out there with pushing the sleds, and he was trying to help one of our guys. And the guy was like, no, 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 and but again, nobody knew it was the president. But again, I just think that the hard work that we're putting in, that one of the things that we want to lay our cultural foundation on is hard work. And I know it's kind of cliche and everybody talk about it, but like we actually work. Like we have our heart monitors that we wear that we can see where guys' heart rate at. We can see how well conditioned we are. We were actually just thinking about this morning, or we were actually thinking about it on Friday to do a conditioning test today. But we didn't have to because we were able to we were able to get up and down a lot today because we don't play until Wednesday, which was able to help our numbers for our conditioning. But I think hard work is the main thing that I think we can contribute our success to. And then I think being together as a team, you can look at our roster, and from game to game is usually somebody usually steps up that you're not expecting. And we had a guy like George Tinsley, who was 2 years ago was the rookie of the year of the league. He was second in the league in the NCAA in minutes played 2 years ago as a freshman. He go from that to this year, didn't play 2 or 3 games in a row, didn't even get off the bench. And he never batted an eye. He knew that the guy that was playing in front of him was playing really good basketball. So again, and we had this conversation. I called him to my office, and we talked about it. And I told him, listen, it's not anything you're doing wrong. Because I think a lot of times when guys think that when they're not playing, they think that they're doing something wrong. And I told him, I said, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just that the guy that's playing in front of you is playing at a high level right now. And he understood that. Christian Hinkson had a stretch where he was, double doubles and, shooting 50 to 60% from the 3-point line. He can guard that. He was guarding the other team's best player. So again, it was hard to take him off the floor. But George, again, a credit to him, never pouted, came to practice every day, worked hard, probably our hardest worker. And then the last few games, last game against Maine, 17 points, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. And I use him as an example after the game on Saturday, just to say, like, I keep telling these guys, you have to be prepared when your opportunity comes. The only way you're going to be prepared is when you're not playing and you're not producing, you have to stay locked in, right? You can't now go off and think, oh, I'm not playing, I don't have to work as hard, I don't have to get those extra shots up. Because again, I keep telling them, today is George. One day it's going to be Bryce Beamer. We played against Hartford. Again, another game he didn't play. He didn't play 4 or 5 games in a row. We put him in against Hartford. He goes 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. and gave us an opportunity to come back and get back in the game. And so that togetherness that we have is big, and I think that we're having success. I think it even helps. It helps it a lot more, because when you're winning, it's hard to bitch and complain when the team is winning, right? You don't look right when you do that, right?
No doubt.
And so it gives these guys an opportunity to buy in a little bit more.
Yeah, you've done a great job, Coach, just sharing everything going on that way, man. Now we got to get to the funny side. Tell us at least one funny story
Does it have to be about
or in your journey at all. But if you have one as you've been a head coach, that's cool too. Either one.
Funny story, but you know what? I don't have a funny story right now about the head coaching part. It's still fresh, right? We haven't really had a lot of
Have the guys felt comfortable making fun of you yet, or not yet?
Nah, you know what? They were telling
Making fun of you in front of you, like impersonation.
They were telling Coach Johnson, I think the thing that they say about me is that, I can be cool and calm, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm yelling about something, because it happens that quick, right? Like you again, I'm just kind of, reserved, but again, sometimes you see something, you talk about something a million times, and then you see a guy doing something that you just spoke about, and then it kind of sets you off. But I got one from overseas though.
Yeah, tell me that, or tell us that.
So first year overseas, I'm in the Czech Republic. I don't speak any Czech, and so we were going to like a conditioning camp, because overseas you come over in August, and then you don't start until October, and so you got like 2 months of training camp, right? It's hard as hell. And so we were supposed to be downstairs at 4:30, and so the coach is saying, hey, make sure you take your gear and pack everything, and and be downstairs at pool party, and that means 4:30 in Czech, right? And I don't know if you heard it, but I heard pool party, and so I was like in front of the team. I'm like, yo,
we got pool party.
We're going to a pool party, and everybody just bust out, started laughing. It was, and they explained to me that it was I had to be downstairs at 4:30 because the bus was leaving.
Right.
I thought we going to a pool party. So I thought that was funny.
No doubt. I heard both. I heard it's probably somebody to decipher here. That sounds like 4:30, but if I was with you, I probably would have thought we both would have been at the pool party.
Right, exactly. And then he was talking about bringing your gear. I'm like, I got to get some trunks and right.
I love it. Well, Coach, you guys have done a great job so far. See, you've won 7 of your last 11, which is a lot to be said about playing your best ball at the right time, and you guys are doing that. Happy for you. Thanks for taking the time. We'll give you any last words you have and let you prepare for Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say, man, that as you said earlier, a lot of people might not know about Binghamton in terms of what kind of institution we have. Man, it's a great academic school. One of the top business schools in the country. It's a small town, but the school is what makes this place thrive. And we got some good energy around the program right now. I mean, a lot of people are taking interest in us. Tony Kornheiser is a Binghamton alum.
Okay.
And last week we were on there 2 days in a row. Again, it just shows you the excitement. I mean, I'm a ton of emails and social media messages from alumni that are excited about what's going on. But I think whenever we bring recruits up here and they get a chance to see, I mean, beautiful campus. Right now it's a little snowy up here, which it is around the East Coast. But I mean, facilities are amazing for the conference that we play in. It's comparable to any in the conference. Even it's probably one of the best arenas we have in our league. And I think the style of play that we want to play, and I think the background that we have as coaches and able to prepare guys and help guys get better, and the contacts that I'm making here, being able to help guys after college, because I think that's also important. that, when we don't just use these kids to play basketball, of course they get a degree, but
Yep.
we gotta help these guys and get these guys opportunities after they leave here. And I was able to go down to New York City during the summer. Tom Garvey, who was working at the school at the time, he took me down to meet a ton of alumni and donors and things of that nature. And I'm in contact with those guys. And again, for me, that's one of the most important things, is being able to help these guys when the ball stops bouncing here,
No doubt.
and not turn our backs, but being able to put them in position. That's about that's what it's all. It's about these guys. It's about the kids. It's about helping them. But again, I just want people that don't know about Binghamton. It's a really good place to be. And with the help of a little bit more W's, I think we can get our name out on the national scene.
No question. No question. Well, we're glad to do our part, Coach. You joining us today. I can't say we're the full national scene, but we got a little corner in it. So we're glad to have you on, and we appreciate you taking the time. We're going to continue to keep supporting you guys, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I really appreciate it. Again, anytime we get opportunity to, promote our school and our players, I want to do that. So I definitely want to thank you for having me on and being able to represent, Binghamton, and give some information about what we got going on here.
No, absolutely. Keep up the great work, Coach. We're rooting for you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, awesome stuff there from the head coach at Binghamton. You heard it there first. They're doing some great things and won 7 of their last 11, which I don't care what conference you're in. That's not easy to do, and play for not play for first place, but play the first place team Wednesday, and playing some great ball and looking to continue to play great ball as they get ready for the tournament. So, yep, you heard it there first, and we'll have all of his information to follow him as this is posted, and this will also be found on not only Rising Coaches live stream, but also on All Access Network on the YouTube. So thanks so much for joining us, and look forward to